Deploying a minimal Flask app in Docker, server connection issues. I have an app whose only dependency is Flask, which runs fine outside Docker and binds to the default port 5000. Here is the full source. The problem is that when I deploy this in Docker, the server is running but is unreachable from outside the container. Below is my dockerfile. The image is Ubuntu with Flask installed. The tar just contains the index.py listed above. Here are the steps I am doing to deploy. $sudo docker build t perfectum prezi dot. As far as I know, the above runs fine. The image has the contents of the tar in /srv. Now, let's start the server in a container. Is it actually running? Yep, seems like the Flask server is running. Here is where it gets weird. Let's make a request to the server. Empty reply. But is the process running? Now let's SSH into the server and check. It's fine. But not from the outside. What am I doing wrong?
The problem is you are only binding to the local host interface. You should be binding to 0.0.0.0 if you want the container to be accessible from outside. If you change to, it should work. Note that this will bind to all interfaces on the host, which may in some circumstances be a security risk. See this URL for more information on binding to a specific interface.
When using the flask command instead of app.run, you can pass the host option to change the host. The line in Docker would be or
your Docker container has more than one network interface. For example, my container has the following. If you run docker network inspect bridge, you can see that your container is connected to that bridge with the second interface in the above output. This default bridge is also connected to the Docker process on your host. Therefore, you would have to run the command. To access your Flask app running in a Docker container from your host machine, replace 172.17.0.2 with whatever the particular IP address is of your container.
You need to modify the host to 0.0.0.0 in the Docker file. This is a minimal example. And the file app.py is. Then compile with. And run with. You can check the response with curl http://127.0.0.1 5000/v.
If you like this more, please consider subscribing.